I'm not bursting a bubble by doing this. The intention is to take a very holistic look at the Seattle Mariners right now. To open the show, Bump, you and I talked about the reasons that we think and the reasons listeners think this team has won 8 series in a row. And there's a lot of really exciting stuff happening. Legitimately, Jorge Polanco is playing like a baseball god. Cal Raleigh is leading the league in home runs. JP is healthy and is performing, and this team is stealing bases, getting on base, and winning. Now we're going to transition a little bit, and this isn't to say, and here's why it's not going to last. The intention is to say, what are some questions we have? What are some things we're still thinking? Anytime we find ourselves heaping praise on this team, what's the thing that keeps us saying, I'm just wondering about this, or but this. So this is the part that we're getting to. And this is inspired by ESPN's Bradford Doolittle, who talked about the primary question that we all have for these teams. So the good news is that the Seattle Mariners were number 6 in his power rankings. That's awesome. But he does have a what must change category, and he says first base production. Looking at Rowdy Tellez and Donovan Solano. That combo's mostly responsible for Seattle's 518 OPS there at first base, which is 29th in MLB.
Yeah, you need production there. Rowdy Tellez, we're hoping that he tapped back into that guy he was a couple of years ago when he had, 30-plus bombs there. And Solano was a guy that, we were told it's just a contact type of guy, but he's going to have great leadership. When you look at their slash, it's just not good enough. So, yeah, you do need more production out of your first base, especially out of those two. And Solano, who's a veteran, who's been around the block a few times, who understands this game. And Tellez, who you were just hoping just to strike gold, right, to find oil. And hopefully that big body will give you some more production. But you're just not getting it from those two guys. If you can just get one of those guys just to be average, then you feel a lot better about the future of this team. Even though they are in a good place right now, yeah, you got to look at first base and with Rowdy and Solano and say, okay, give us a little more, give us something, and if you do, maybe there's another run coming. Okay,
so what's your version of, no, I love this, what's happening is great, winning is fun, it's just, I'm wondering. What's your version of, but this?
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's Julio. Everyone's questioning, can he be that guy? Looking at his numbers, his contact on breaking and off-speed pitches are roughly the same from last year. It felt like they were better, but it's roughly the same. His whiffs are up on his fastball, but he is pulling the ball more this year. The solid contact is down, but his chase rate is down as well. It's like you look at one stat with Julio, and then he gives you another one to say, hold on, I'm not ready yet. Runners in scoring position, is slashing grade 129, 308, 161, slugging 469. That's concerning. But then I look at his numbers on the road. He plays better on the road. So is Julio still being affected by the batter's eye? I'm sitting here trying to figure out. It's like I'm talking to one of my kids, and he does great in some subjects in school, and he does okay in the other ones. And I'm trying to figure out, how can I help you? Like, what's going on with your approach? That's the way I see Julio as of now. But what was encouraging for me this last series, there were no strikeouts for Julio. No strikeouts. So he's squaring the ball up, sometimes getting unlucky. If I look at first base, I think you start there because you realize how low those numbers are. But it's what everyone else is saying. I'm not cracking a code here. It's Julio. How can Julio kind of join the JP, the Polanco, the Cal party?
I am going to tie my answer into yours and say that my primary concern about this team is that there is an element of luck and a hot streak inherent to any great stretch of baseball play for any team, any player, anywhere. So you having Cal leading the league in home runs, like Cal's not going to, I don't think. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. But I don't know if Cal is hitting 10 home runs in May or 11 home runs in May. I'm not going to count on it. I think that's unfair to ask. I don't know if Jorge Polanco is going to hit almost 400 in May. Maybe he will, but it's unfair of me to ask that. So will a very natural regression or cooling off period for some of these guys overlap with you getting guys back off the injured list? Like, that's kind of what my question is, right? You've been able to overcome what has been a pretty lengthy injury list from this team because you've had a few other key players like JP, Cal, and Jorge overperforming expectation or performing up to, in the case of JP, like up to what he can be.
Right.
Does that cooling off period thankfully overlap with getting some reinforcements? Like maybe it overlaps with Kirby coming back, and you're thinking, okay, like team OPS took a little bit of a hit, or team home runs took a little bit of a hit because, let's say, JP and Cal cool off a little in May. But also team ERA is better because maybe George is getting back involved. I know that we're looking more of June for that, but that's what I'm saying. Is there going to be enough of an overlap, or are you going to have a gap where you're not getting done what you need to offensively, and also you're still missing some big names? That's my question.
Yeah, and that's baseball. You know, some guys start to cool off. You need some other guys to step up. Someone on the text line says, "Oh, you know, Rowdy's been fine. I mean, 4 bombs, 14 RBIs, limited plate appearances. He has had his moments as well, but I think that." The reason why Rowdy and Solano are being pointed out is because you want like an everyday guy. You want a guy that you can just count on that first base spot. And then when you have guys like Luke having that oblique injury, you know, that takes away one bat, a streaky bat at that we know how Luke gets down, man. He'll go nuts for 3 or 4 games. And you're looking elsewhere and saying, who else is going to pick up the slack? Who's going to step up and just do it consistently? So if you have to pick between the two, Rowdy's obviously having the better season than Solano. He's had his moments. But it's more about just having someone that you can rely on in that position. And you just don't feel that way as of yet.
Yeah.
There's still time for someone to step up, though.
And again, hopefully to your point and your initial takeaway, it's Julio. Because this texter's right in that, like, Rowdy hasn't been awful, but that's also because your expectations of Rowdy were like, oh, I didn't even know he was going to be part of this roster until late in spring training. Donovan Solano, we obviously knew would, so I would like to see more from him. But if he ends up being a non-contributor, I can live with that because this team isn't paying him to be a major contributor. They are with Julio. They're paying him to be the biggest contributor.
Yeah.
They're paying him to be the big star, to carry this team. And so Julio being fine is great, but it's not good enough.
No, it's not. And he has shown the ability to do it. The concerning part about me is that he's not zoning in on those fastballs the way that we're used to seeing. The scouting report is out on him low and away, high and tight. That's where he wants to swing, where he's going to miss. And what adjustments is he going to make? What adjustments what conversation do him and Edgar have when it comes to his approach at the plate? Because there are times where he looks good, but then when you just crunch all the numbers and you're looking at just the specifics, right, the in between the lines type stuff, it concerns you a bit. So Julio, you have to play like the way you're being paid.